Hello, dear Gnostic Takeover community, and welcome to Navigating the Matrix with Natural Law Principles, Episode 7, The Introduction. And this is about fundamental concepts and principles. So as you well know, and I head straight into the slides, okay, this is what Navigating the Matrix with Natural Law Principles is all about, a video series that I started more than a year ago. The first lockdown, after going on a tour around Austria, talking about digital totalitarianism, 5G technology, and the upcoming digital dystopia that they wanted to implement according to the example set by China. And I did that for a whole year, went all around Austria, and then they locked down, and obviously I was out of work. So this is how this channel was started, how the Gnostic Takeover got started on the internet. And it really got started with a video series, which is only now being continued after more than a year of pausing. And I'm with episode 7, and I had planned to have episode 7 part 1 because episode 7 is 3 parts. It's a special episode due to the fact that the number 7 is very significant in the occult tradition, and that's what I'll be getting into also in one of the parts. And unfortunately, I wanted to air part 1 of episode 7, the takeover of the Renegade Maverick, today. Today's the 2nd of July. However, unfortunately, life sometimes has different plans, and I've been working the whole week on getting this done. But it's much more than I thought it was, and this is coming to a crescendo, and I'm putting 13 years of research and wisdom into this. And therefore the information decoding was just too much, and then putting it into order, I just couldn't have done it. So therefore I decided to postpone, okay, and take the route of actually failing to meet a deadline, okay. And I've never liked deadlines, so that's why I probably failed with this one also. However, I thought I'll use the opportunity and give you a show anyway. You see, there's a high order to things, and things don't always work out how we want them to work out. And we as humanity, okay, we are divine creator beings, okay. We can create reality and create different realities to what we're experiencing right now with this attack on our freedom that we're experiencing every single day. And we can make an intention, okay, and create according to that intention. However, sometimes the timing is off, and this is what I've observed with my work also, where I often, in an exciting state, I say we're going to do this now, or this is going to happen next month, when the timing is off. And the timing is up to the highest source, the higher order, that decides when things are going to kickstart, okay, when things have reached the right crescendo, and when the zeitgeist aligns. And unfortunately, with this part 1 of episode 7, it wasn't the right time and needs to be postponed. When I put a lot of work into an artwork, I want it to be of a very, very high quality, and therefore I decided to not rush anything, and just no pressure. Keep letting it flow. Let it flow, and let it grow, because the timing is up to powers that are much higher than our perception at the moment, okay, and our will at that moment. There's higher powers at work also, which need to be respected. So therefore, we have an introduction video to navigating the matrix with natural law principles, fundamental concepts and principles. And I bet most people listening to this weren't probably even aware of the fact that I started a video series more than a year ago, because no one had a bloody clue that I was even here. I was on maybe a few, maybe 50 views or 70 views at that time. And there was nothing going on my channel, but I still made the videos for the same reason that I'm still doing videos now, which is to share crucial information, give my perspective on things. And I think that's what's really important, that we give, that the information that we learn, okay, this is what I can observe with a lot of people, the information that we learn, that we also use that information. And that I can only recommend to everyone. So this is how navigating the matrix with natural law principles started. And it was about becoming a master of mental forces, okay? Not I'm the master, and that then implies that someone's my slave, or I'm the master and other people are underneath me. Nope. Mastery of mental forces exclusively has to do with oneself and one's own progression and growth of consciousness, and also embodying the knowledge that we learn. Alright? This is something that I get when I do these videos, for example. The information and the knowledge that I learn, I share for free with my human family that are also interested in topics like Gnosticism and Hermeticism, the Hermetic tradition. And that's through the use of knowledge, okay, making use of the knowledge, putting it into action. We then also embody that knowledge, okay? And that's the difference between only having it in the mind, but also using that knowledge so others can also have access to it, and then also make use of that knowledge that you shared. And this is how creation really works. Sharing is caring. And what this channel has been, is, and will always be dedicated to share is this question: what don't they want me to know? Is there information out there that a cabal that is masquerading as government, that is hiding behind a pyramid structure of control, where the media says you're a conspiracy theorist for having even the idea that there's hidden masters in the background? And the question that drives me, and has been driving me always, is what is the information that they do not want me to know about? And what can I do with this information to have an impact on a world that is in crisis? How can I make a difference? And this is something I observe a lot also in the so-called freedom movement, alternative media arena, is an information overload. where we lose sight of the big picture. There's always new news. Always new news, and that's the news of today. And now we've learned this, when nothing really ever changes. It's one agenda. An agenda for human enslavement, technologically, which is now being done, or which they want to do technologically, to enslave the human race technologically. And what preceded that is the enslavement of humanity perceptually, manipulating perception. That's how the new normal from now, okay, this technological society that they want to maneuver us into, that's where the new normal came from the normal that was before. And that's a subject that I'll be getting into a lot in episode 7. It's crucial. Has to do with propaganda and mass psychology, mass psychosis, as Dr. Wilhelm Reich called it, and how the masses are always wrong. So how do you want to wake up the masses? These are things that I'll be speaking about. And instead of just always talking about the agenda, oh, and this has happened next, and let's take a look at this video, and the masses are just so stupid, and we need to wake more people up. Here at the Gnostic Takeover, explaining the world through an allegory is what I like to do. And this picture is going to be present a lot, and it has been present a lot in the previous Navigating the Matrix videos, because it is of fundamental importance. So you see at the left, being distracted by shadow projections on the wall. No matter what media that is, it is a media, it is a projection, and it comes from the environment around you. And distraction goes very deep, and that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of here at the Gnostic Takeover. How deep does the rabbit hole go? And how distracted are we really? This is where we need to talk about being honest with ourselves. Because where we want to get to is what the single guy to the right here, who leaves the campfire and gets the freaking hell out of the cave. That's what I would suggest is the message of the Gnostic Takeover. To keep it simple. We're not here to find out all the little details of how they want to enslave us. I do that too. I look into it too. The problem is when we lose ourselves in it. And keeping it simple is we need to find out about freedom. There's a feedback loop happening, okay, and this is meant to be a healthy critique, okay? I love healthy critiques. Also with me. Please, people, give me healthy critiques. Instead of, like has happened before also, that I'm a narcissist and I should listen to this guy or that guy. No. I'm gonna make up my own mind, okay? You can give your critique. However, the sovereign individual will always make up his or her own mind. Thank you for the input, but I'll always decide myself. If you don't like it, you have the problem. So this is meant as a healthy critique for the alternative media, because from what I can observe in a lot of cases in the truth and freedom media arena, is that they actually create a feedback loop with the mainstream media in which people stay stuck in Plato's cave, observing shadow projections and not getting to the core of things, of what's really going on in the world and what we really want, which is to manifest freedom and to experience freedom and to end this attack that is happening on the human race and on the earth. And only just recently, and I won't mention any names, I watched a video again after more than half a year not watching a video. I won't mention the name. Okay, I mentioned it in my previous interview just for people to give people a clue. Maybe you know who I'm talking about. I love the man's work, alright. However, I watched a report the other day and I was just shocked how really confused it made me. And the horror just made me think there's no way out of this, when there is. And this is what I get when I watch a lot of the alternative media. It seems like there's no way out, and no wonder that people are afraid and scared. And in that state of fear, we are not getting anywhere. That's why I pull this up. That's why I talk about this in part 1, okay, of episode 7. It creates a feedback loop, because what happens is the mainstream media came out with this whole virus scam since beginning of last year. Okay, for example, this is just an example to explain this concept of the feedback loop. They create a narrative, okay, with this virus originating from Wuhan, China. And what happens is that the alternative media pick up that narrative and then put true statements to it. But it still goes round and round in the loop of, does this virus exist, or it doesn't exist, or what is this agenda really all about? And it stays at a certain level, and it keeps us in the reality loop of the matrix. Okay, and instead of staying on the superficial surface Truman Show level of reality of the matrix, we should be questioning what the matrix control system really is, why we are in the situation that we're in right now, and how we can get out of that prison, because they're trying to enslave us more and more day by day, and we need to get to the bottom of the fundamental issues. And that's what Navigating the Matrix is here for. Navigating the Matrix with Natural Law Principles video series restarting, because this is exactly what we're driving at. And awakening is a journey, alright? It's a journey of discovery. And we need to be honest that we are still on our own awakening journey. And the biggest sort of mind virus that I can observe in the alternative media that keeps people stuck in Plato's cave is trying to wake other people up. It doesn't work like that. When someone doesn't ask for it, okay, don't push it, because you'll never ever get it. You can entertain and see how they react, but when you keep pushing the information, it makes no sense. Everyone makes their choice. The key for me is to deepen into one's own journey of awakening. And from that point, the more we act from us, because the deeper we go in our awakening, the more freedom we're going to express, and the more people will recognize that and be drawn to us magnetically. How do you do that? How can you speak to authority, meaning the police, meaning the judges, meaning politicians, or any of those? How can you speak to them like this and get away with it? Stand strong. This is where people then start to question, okay? And that's what we should be getting into, okay? How to activate the magnetics again and attract people into our lives. That's how a movement should be created, and never to try to wake more of the masses up. That is, how many do you want to wake up? You'll never stop working, and it's a trap. And there's levels of truth, you see? There's so many spirals. How many spirals are there? How deep does the rabbit hole go? There's levels of truth, and the feedback loop keeps us trapped on a certain level, which is still within the frequency range of the matrix control system, where we are still controlled after nearly 1.5 years of these draconian lockdowns. Still governments push on. So we need to find out how deep of the fundamentals of truth we have to go in order to really make a difference, and we are. There is a big shift happening, but we need to keep pushing and find out more of the truth. Because within this system, everything is organized pyramidically, hierarchically. This is what I go into in the last interview I did with Luma. Okay? In this matrix control system, everything is structured pyramidically and hierarchically for a reason. And we can look at it in terms of the Gnostic investigation, which the Gnostic Takeover is dedicated to look deeper into. We look at the knowledge pyramid, okay? And we go right up to the top and we ask, what is that knowledge? And you can find out in a way like you wouldn't have expected, which is going to be at the end, further to the end of this video. And the control freaks in the background, the cabal in the background, compartmentalize knowledge for a reason. Okay? Compartmentalization means that the further you go up in the pyramid, the more knowledge you have access to. Whereas at the base of the pyramid, you have the ignorant masses. Okay, the masses that should be in ignorance of this occult knowledge, hidden knowledge, knowledge that really makes a difference. So the reason why they compartmentalize information and compartmentalize knowledge is because this knowledge differential leads to a power differential. So a Satanist in that sense is someone who hides information. And hiding that very information from all of humanity gives them a knowledge differential. Okay? They have access to more knowledge than all of humanity have. They hide that, and this is the very basis of their claim of authority and their claim of power. Because when we have access to this knowledge at the capstone of the pyramid, that knowledge differential ceases to exist. We level the playing field, and therefore the power differential ceases to exist. And that's what I'm working on with my project. And I have a court case coming up on the 29th of July, and I will put these principles into action. And see what happens, Larry. See what happens. Because it's a fundamental truth. And in episode 7 of Navigating the Matrix with Natural Law Principles, I will be getting into the highest level of knowledge that is kept secret in secret society networks and is compartmentalized for no one to get access to for a reason. And that's what the information alchemist is there to do. By having the driving question always in the foreground, what don't they want me to know? And then I'll know. And then I'll act according to this information. And their power differential and therefore claim of authority has to cease to exist. Because this is what the Gnostic takeover is founded upon, is an understanding and application. Because knowledge is not power. Knowledge is only the potential of power. The use of knowledge is power. When you use it, when you put it into action. And that's where we get the root word of knowledge, which is Gnosis. Therefore, also we call beings with Gnosis that operate on higher knowledge, higher wisdom, coming from the information at the top of this pyramid. We call them Gnostics. And Gnosis, coming from this angle, okay, means coming full circle. And complete knowledge. Complete knowledge. You can also ask, how can I piss off my entire environment, no matter who? A group of people or the masses. Tell them that you have Gnosis and complete knowledge. And watch how they react. Ha ha ha! They'll all laugh at you. No one can know. No, we're all normal and actually very, 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 very mad and very psychologically ill and damaged. That's why we were this. Because we have no self-respect. We've totally forgotten that we really don't love ourselves. And because we as individuals in ignorance, and a whole group, and this is what I get into in episode 7 also, the group dynamics, the peer pressure that happens, because we don't know, you also can't and won't ever know. Well, guess what? I know. I know, however, I always keep an open mind and go further along my awakening, because I know there's levels of truth, and how deep does the journey go? I'll just continue the journey, but I know I know my essence. And this is when you gain access to the forces of nature, archetypes, like the lion's heart that roars for justice. What? You want to control me? You want to kill my family? And you want to take my freedom? You roar. You're not gonna do this. You integrate the lion within you. And the ego, wherever you want to make a boundary, I will fly above it because I'm the ego, and therefore I have the overview. I know what's happening. I can see from the highest perspective of this information pyramid, and I even have information that you don't even have within the secret society networks. Because I am in the knowing, but not being arrogant with it, but I have to be, because otherwise I would be taken over. These archetypes of nature, these powers of nature that are reflected in the animal kingdom, it is important that we embody that also within ourselves. Where have we got the lions in this world? Who don't care who they're up against. They know that they're under attack, and they'll tear apart any or anyone, anything or anyone that wants to attack him. Where have we got that in the world? And this is what they're most afraid of. It's the powers of nature, which I'll be getting into in episode 7. Because this control system is run by a bunch of dark, occult, psychopaths, Satanists, who are not as strong as most people give them credit to. As long as the roots of wickedness is hidden, it is strong. Okay, as long as it's hidden. A Satanist is someone who hides information, and when that information is revealed, he has no more standing. What are you gonna do about it, boy? So as long as the roots of wickedness is hidden, is it strong. But when it is recognized, it is dissolved. When it is revealed, it perishes. This is Gnostic Intel. Full credit to John Lamlash, who I got this from. I'll also be talking about this archontic force, which is behind the satanic networks that run the world. Okay? Making no bones about it. Going right to the core of it. This world has been governed. Okay, they masquerade as government, but run under an international system. Lex Mercatoria, which I'll be getting into also in episode 7, either part 2 or part 3. And it is run by satanic networks. And let me tell you, dear community, there is an unseen war going on. And there's even me, and I'm very honest with what I say. I try to be as honest as possible, but there's also information that I hold back. Okay? But there is an unseen war going on, and I've been at the receiving end of a lot of attacks also. And I just want to make people aware this is real. This stuff is real. And this archontic force is working in this world. And you need to know how to be centered in your heart, soul, essence where they can't touch you. Okay? And this archontic force is, and the dark dystopia future that they want to create is, unfortunately, the driving force and the foundation and the core of the alternative media. Whereas the mainstream media totally ignores that there's an agenda of enslavement for the world. Of course. However, the alternative media gives far too much credit to this archontic force and doesn't, in overwhelmingly most cases, doesn't even look into the workings of this archontic force, the psychology of it. But this is what the Renegade Maverick does, and this is why part 1 is dedicated to the takeover of the Renegade Maverick. There's a satanic death cult coming for all of us, and there's those of us who stand up and in the beginning you're trembling. In the beginning you're, oh my God, no, why me? But no one else is doing it. Okay, it's me. I'm going to war, and I'm gonna face them. Oh, there is no war. It's all love and light. Well, you can guess which death cult is behind that ideology. The New Age religion. Oh, there is no war. Don't say war. We need more of these Renegade Mavericks, and you'll feel alive doing it. The beginning is always the most difficult. When I first went onto that stage at the main square in Linz, I was trembling. I was, I'll do it next time. I won't do it. Oh, no, I'm getting up there. Right. Okay, when the fear kicks in, let me show you who I am. Let me face that fear. And that's what's going to make all that difference. We have to realize there's a war on all life. There's a war on this planet. There's a war on the animal kingdom. There's a war on the plant kingdom. And there most certainly is a war on humanity. For a reason. And that's why I have to pull this up again. That's why I am disgusted that the alternative media only stay on the surface level of reality and keep people in the box, trying to wake other people up. It's wrong thinking. Wrong thinking to wake up the collective. When we need to wake up to the deepest layers of the truth that we can find out, where everyone's laughing at you. Ha ha ha, he thinks he knows the truth. Yes, we can know it. And we have to find it out because this archontic force is brittle. It is weak when it is recognized, and when it is revealed, it will and has to perish. But not when we just ignore it and keep on talking. Oh, there's this PCR and people getting vaccinated. The masses are so stupid wearing these masks. And been saying that for 1.5 years. This is also a form of insanity. I'm sorry to say that, but we're at a point where we have to be honest with ourselves, and I have to be honest with you, otherwise I am not myself. And I am a pioneer, a thought pioneer. That's why I'm quadruple Aries, which pioneering is at the center of. And we're here to push each other and push each other's boundaries and trigger each other. Please trigger me, because it makes me evolve further. Renegade Mavericks is what we need. And Renegade Mavericks are revealers. Revealers are the very opposite of so-called leaders. Revealers have come throughout the ages. There's been many revealers that come and teach humanity about their true essence, about what we are and what we are about, and that humanity is beautiful, that we have the genius innate in our DNA flowing through us, through our heart soul essence, which this satanic cult that serves only their ego agenda and their group agenda, serving the pathetic demiurge that I'm ready to face any time, they are afraid of revealers for the reasons I explained, how the roots of wickedness are dissolved and then has to perish. And because they are so afraid of the Renegade Maverick perception, because it ends their systems of control. And I will be getting into these three parts, into what ends this system of control in detail. It's the biggest genocide that has happened throughout the history of humanity. All the genocides of the indigenous people, who they then have the audacity, the arrogance to say they were aborigines when they were and are the origines. That's why they want to mix the races in Europe, and anyone who challenges this agenda is always a racist, because they want to get rid of indigenous wisdom completely, which ends their control system. Because what they're most afraid of is the people that are decoding information transmissions of the natural internet, of nature. Oh, you, DARPA, have set up the internet for your purposes of control and implementing the smart grid. Oh, the Earth has a natural internet and can transmit information that are above and much more conclusive and much more profound than the knowledge that you've been hiding in your secret society, death cult, satanic networks. That will be the end of you. This is why they have slaughtered the indigenous throughout the planet, and then have the nerve, when you expose their agenda, to call you racist, when they are the ones that are behind the death of so many throughout history. And this is what I'll be getting more into also in episode 7. You can see how deep this goes. It is about Gnosis. Another angle of Gnosis is truth-based knowledge about the self, the microcosm, and the environment in which the self exists, the macrocosm, and how they interact with each other. This is where you leave the separate materialistic universe that we've been conditioned to believe in. Oh, this is solid. This is a solid reality. No, it is not. And proven so by quantum physics. And beautifully put by Nikola Tesla, reality is all based on energy, frequency, and vibration, and it's all one field. That's where we get the term that it's all one. The self and the environment are interconnected, and that's what I'll be getting into also. How the hidden dark occult priest class are trying to manipulate or are manipulating the environment around you when everyone's wearing the muzzle and everyone's going along, and that's where we get the perception within the truth and freedom community that we need to wake up the masses. That's where the wrong thinking comes from, because the environment around you is manipulated through fear to wear muzzles, and then you take on that fear too, and then you try to wake them up when you should be focusing more on the growth of the self. Know thyself, and know, most certainly, know the enemy, the archontic force, the enemies of life. Know thyself and know the enemy, and then you get somewhere. The enemy doesn't want us to know what reality is and how we can change reality. Question reality. Let's go right to the core issue. Let's go right to how we leave this prison. How does reality work? How to project a new reality? Because this is where most people are stuck. I have to pull this up again. Most people are stuck to the left down here, which is the screen. But you cannot change what is on the screen. You can only change the projector level of reality, because you are projecting it from inside yourself. That's how you leave the cave, the prison. How do we project reality? This is what I'll be getting into. You're interacting with it. Your mind is most powerful. That's why. Become master of mental forces. Focus on the self instead of being distracted by the environment. There is an awakening going on. However, they always want to tell you that they've already won, when they have to do this because this archontic force is weak. It is very clever. I give this force a lot of credit because it's a trickster. They absolutely know about your psychology and how to manipulate you. But still, we are much stronger, and I am here to make you remember that that is so. Because you project reality. Reality only exists because of you. Now, where is the power? It's with you, and it's within each and every individual. That's what I will be getting into in episode 7. You can see it's a dive into the deep waters. Going deep. That's what the Gnostics are all about, the modern Gnostics. Going deep, because a true Telestai, and the Gnostics called themselves actually Telestai, from telos, meaning aimed. We are aimed at freedom, and we don't want anyone to even try to take our freedom, because otherwise we'll unleash this. Okay? That's what it takes. These are the Earth powers. This is the Earth transmission talking with you right now, and they are most afraid of this. That's why they have genocided humanity and those speaking the message of the Earth. But no more. Truth will out. By going into the deep knowledge. This goes also into emotional intelligence, which I will be going into too. It's not only about the intellectual level, it's about the emotions too. That's why I like to make myself vulnerable sometimes, although it's used against me. Okay? It has been used against me. But my heart shines stronger to all those who tried to subvert me. And this is a hot war going on, okay? And those who deliver the transmissions that will get us out of this prison will be attacked first. But they can't do shit to me. They also can't do anything to you when you're strong. And that strength, that anchoring in your being, comes through emotional intelligence, which hardly anyone really talks about. I hope there's more talking about it. I hope you, the great community of the Gnostic Takeover, are into this, because I'll be getting into it. That liberates us to have access to a heart-based intelligence, opening up the heart and the learning message of the mother planet. And she's sad because the message is not getting through as much as I'd like to. But it's okay, because at least I'm getting my message and acting according to that. Because I would do everything for the mother planet. She's my mother. And I'm her child. And no one else interferes with my relationship with the planet. She has a big message, and this is the message throughout the ages, for which genocide after genocide has happened, because they're afraid of her powers being transmitted to humanity and them being channeled through and told this is how true change of reality happens. Someone gives an empowering message and then transmits that, and people also get empowered, because this archontic force does nothing better than keep us down. I know this from 10 years of depression, and I don't give a damn what people think. This is the core thing that has made me powerful, that has made me unmovable from my aim. The Telestai is someone who's aimed, an aimed intention then put into manifestation. And no one can stop me from that. Because I am learning my learning lessons from interacting with this archontic force in this lifetime, in my experienced reality. And they can't do anything anymore because I'm learning the learning lessons. What I'll be getting into also is different radio stations of reality. Where do we tune into? And this is what we will be then experiencing. Because reality again is not materialistic. This is at the core of the satanic religion ideology. Trying to tell everyone about the materialistic worldview of Darwinism. That's one of the tenets I'll be getting into, social Darwinism. And that's why they've created a materialistic society and class structure. When reality works on energy, frequency and vibration, and therefore I'm quite happy I've got no insurance. I'm quite happy I don't own a house or won't ever inherit a house. Okay, I'm actually in the house of my parents right now because I can't even afford to live anywhere. But I don't give a damn. I go into trust. I have a duty to fulfill for this planet and for humanity. And everything comes at the right time. But because I do not have that hardly any materialistic possessions or anything, is why I can act with that level of freedom and make a big difference in the world. Those things interconnect with each other. Different radio stations. There's a natural reality frequency field that we can connect to. There's different fields of consciousness that we tune into. And that shapes the environment we experience, the self-experiences. Question is, where are we tuned into? The natural field of the earth, the natural reality frequency, and she's raising her frequency, and we're going with her. And that has to do a lot with emotional intelligence. It's not just, oh, just raise your vibration, because that is also one of the manipulations of New Age religion that also comes from the satanic cult. And I'll be going into all of this because I know the enemy, because I have encountered the enemy many times in this lifetime. And this archontic force has also in my past worked through me. This doesn't mean that I only get attacked by outside forces. No, it also works through me. But through getting the learning lessons, which these archons are here for, as I'll be going into deeper, then they can't touch you. So the question is, what frequency field do we connect to? Natural reality or the artificial matrix reality copy? The artificial field of consciousness that runs parallel. Okay, that's why I have this radio. It's a parallel station between the natural reality field, the natural field of consciousness, and an artificial field of consciousness. And to the end, we have our great friend Bill Hicks, a great man, genius. Unfortunately, died very early, but a great man where you tune into and where you end up, and what the future of humanity is going to be, is your choice. Your sovereign choice. In sovereignty, which means that it's independent of your environment. Having a sovereign choice means it's independent, completely free of any influence of the collective. Forget about waking the collective up. Go on the journey of awakening. See how deep it goes. And we'll go so deep in those 3 parts of episode 7. True specialty. It's going to be really special. Going to go very deep. Go on that journey. And you'll see. Everyone will join when we walk the talk. Instead of only talk the talk. We walk the talk, then humanity is going to join us. And it's only a choice. No effort, no job, no savings of money. A choice right now between fear and love. That's why I don't have a job. No savings. Worked the entire week for part 1. Didn't get it done. So what? The time will come. And we'll go much deeper. Even now it's an hour long. Just the introduction. This I put together in an hour. This slideshow. But it's a lot of work putting together these presentations. But this is what I'm here to do, and I love doing what I'm doing. And you can look forward to the great work happening on this channel. Because they won't censor it. They probably can't censor it. Because the earth can hack the internet. And she'll make sure this message gets out there. And also, they might want to find out what the future is. Because we're taking over. I mean what I say. I don't just talk about this. I mean what I say. And I share this information with you. And you can decide for yourself how much this information means to you. I know that this information is the peak of the pyramid. Okay? Which, when you have access to the highest level of information, the knowledge differential is gone, and therefore the power differential is gone, and the controllers, the control freaks, foundation of their power is only by hiding information which is then out there, and then they have no power more over us. That's how it works. You see how powerful the principles of the natural order are? And one thing is to find out about this information. The next thing is to embody it also. And that's why I'll continuously put up my work here. Sometimes I also take a break. And today I decided to take more time for part 1 of episode 7. You can really look forward to this one. Here, it was postponed today, but the takeover of the Renegade Maverick, it's gonna be quite something. And yeah, at the end, always very thankful for anyone supporting my work also financially and give a gift to me. There's a lot more coming. If you think about me or about it, just in the links below, feel free to help. Alright, all the very best, have a lovely weekend. See you very soon. Bye bye.